سلام بچه‌ها، چطورید؟ امیدوارم که حالتون خوب باشه. یوریل هستم. یوریل تلفظ درستشه، چون دو سه نفر گفتم اونها یوریل اسم چیز عجیب غریبی نیست. و اینکه این اولین ویدیویی که دارم ضبط میکنم، اما اولین باری نیستش که دارم ضبط میکنم. 4 بار تا الان اومدم ضبط کنم. یه بار اصلا یادم رفته بود تلفنم وصل کنم به لپتاپ، یه بار کلا قطع بود میکروفونش، یه بار موهام خیلی ناجور بود، اصلا خیلی دردسر خوردم و واقعا الان حس جالبی ندارم که اولین ویدیومو دارم وای کلی زاغ دارم. نه اصلا چیزی نیست. اگه واقعا بخواید اسم بدونید هیچی. نه حس واقعی میذاره. اولش استرس داشتم، عجیب غریب بود، ولی خب الان دیگه بعد 4 بار سعی کردم میذاره عادی. خب بازی که حالا امروز میخوام واسهتون 3 تا پارت، توی 3 تا پارت واسهتون ضبط میکنم. این پارت اولشه، اسمش جنیتال جوستینگه که خیلی دیالوگ توش، یعنی صحبت میکنه یه نفر باهات. و اینکه مثبت 18 مثلا اگه الان شما زیر 18 ترک کنید اینجا رو. و کلا یه بازی جدید طوره. و الان اینایی که شما دارید میبینید توی تصویر، اینا اصلا آلت تناسلی نیست کرم. اینا آلت تناسلی، اینا آخوندم نیستن، بسیجی هم نیستن، کرم. آره بریم استوری مودش. البته 3 مدل بازی داره، استوری، یه دونه آنلاین و آنلاین مولتی پینش بکنم، همون آنلاینشه که با بات بازی میکنم. خب بریم نیو گیم. چی مثلا بازی میخوام go to left go to the right. یعنی تسلی افتاد. راستی یکی جلو بیا برو بالا. آره یکی از مشکلاتی که گفتم خیلی دیالوگ داره، اصلا نمیشه الان صحبت کردم. من خیلی آدم حرف هستم، اما حرف زیاد حرف من چیکار دارم میکنم. حرف میزنن نفهمیدم چی شده. زیاد حرف میزنم، اما خب با این بازی چون دیالوگ خیلی تو گوشم میگه نمیتونم زیاد صحبت کنم، ولی خب سعیم میکنم مقدار زر بزنم. خب میگو سیبه رو بنداز تا اونجوش فهمین. الان میگه دوباره بو خودشون نفهمیم چی خوردش. جلو خورد نفهمیم چی خورد. واو 16 سال من اشتباه غذا میخوردم. اینجوری باید غذا بخوریم بچه ها. من فهمیدم که اینجوری باید غذا بخوریم. این اول بازی که داره آموزش میده که چیکار کنیم و کنترل ها و اینجور چیزا رو آموزش میده. تیک خود دوستام اینا. اوه نه اوه خونم میده. نمیتونی منو بزنی.
John woke to the shrill cry of his alarm clock and lay there, rigid, his usual morning condition. But there was another reason John couldn't get out of bed. It was the weight. A weight that had nothing to do with his muscles or fat or sweaty blankets. John was weighed down by a piece of paper. The invitation to his high school reunion. From across the years, the words he'd heard in the schoolyard were still clear. You're a loser. No one will ever love you.
چرا؟ نمیتونم بفهمم. من از این بدشونه. خفه شد. حالا از چیزی خفه میشه. چه دیدید خیلی توش صحبت میکنه اینجوری، مثل اینکه چی شده باشه.
John needed to shower and wash off the sweaty stink of desperate sadness.
خیلی صحبت میکنه، اصلا نمیتونم من توش زیاد صحبت کنم و چیزی بگم. شانسی بود، واقعا شانسی بود. واقعا شانسی بود، اصلا نفهمیدم اون چی اسمش کلیدی که نه از اوناست که روشن میکنه، فعال میکنه اومدن آب رو. خب یه بار دیگه بزنم خاموش میشه. از اینه تونست. خب مسواک هم ما بزنیم. چون مسواک نمیزنم. نه چه اگه بچه همراهتونه حتما دورش کنید چون بدآموزی داره این بازی شدیدن. لباس تنها میکنه. لختیم. شورتم باشه کروات. بذارید چک کنیم چه لباسایی داره. خیلی نمیتونم واقعا درک کنم مغز اونی که این بازی رو خلق کرده. اینو دوست دارم. لباسش به نظرم
John had 3 months until the reunion to turn his life around. First, he needed to clean up.
سوسک. یخچال چیه؟ نه این سوسکه چقدر ترسناکه. باید چیزا رو بشوریم. این الان تمیز شد دیگه. باید بذارمش الان این تو. نمیشه که که من میشونیمشون اشتباه نمیشه.
The only reason he'd ordered so much takeout was because the delivery peen made John feel butterflies in his testicles.
ما برعکس شدیم اگه دقت کرده باشی.
Distracted by his new drive to improve his life, he had become late. He needed to hurry or he'd miss the bus to work.
میرم که دیگه بیشتر از اینا
John called it his study, but it was basically for
روشن نمیشه. چیه؟ آن کنترلشه. شبکه هم عوض میکنیم. اخبار ببینیم. گفتم که اینا کرمن بسیجی نیستن. سیاست مدارم نیست. کرم.
But if he called the express bus, he might make it to work on time. John didn't really like his job, but it had 2 qualities in its favor. 1, he could pay his rent, and 2, Barbara. Currently John's top candidate for his reunion date. John noticed a moderately attractive peen waiting at the stop.
چون دلیلی که خیلی علاقه دارم بازی کنم بازی رو میخوام تهش میشه.
He was tempted to talk to her.
چقدر حرف میزنی. مثلا خودم میدم اینه که تهش مثلا نسل همه کرم ها یا همون آلت ها چیز میشه منقرض میشه و خیلی باهوشم میشه.
The office hummed with cold
و
fluorescent
این
lighting.
که اسمم منقرض
The air
بشه.
was cold and stale, lifeless. How long had John worked here? Long enough to deserve better.
Yups. سسره. کجا بره؟ کاغذه. گرافیش هم خیلی باحاله. مثلا دنیاش نصف نیمه تره. بخش درم نیست. یا فرار.
John was late, but he felt daring. He could sneak into the office through the archives, or he could stroll through the front entrance with enough confidence to bluff his boss. John decided to creep in through the archives.
چیه الان؟
Despite the obvious flaws, John thought it was a good plan and not a recipe for humiliation.
چیزش اینجا کل راه رو باید برگردیم. فرار کن. مرده جنازش چیز شده. مگس دارش کم شده. این چه باحاله. موج داره. اینجوری میباده. گیر کردم. گیر کرده. میگه اگزیتش از اون ور چرا چیز نمیشه. نه با این کار کنیم این رسما مرده. از اینجا نما بریم.
Everyone else was hard at work,
خراب
grinding
شد این
away.
دفتر.
John might actually get away with this.
خراب شد همه.
The boss. He honed in on John, deluging him with spit and buzzwords. The boss
حرف
ran out of
میزنن
synonyms for John's failings and gave him an
آبه چیه
ultimatum.
پرتاب میشه.
Barbara would definitely not be interested in dating John if he was unemployed. He had to get to the quality assurance department.
خیلی حرف میزنه رو مخم اصلا. نظرم ما بازی رو یه جور دیگه تحریم کردن که کمتر حرف بزنه. زرپ.
There might be a faulty dildo just waiting to cost the company millions in lawsuits. John would have to test them all.
بچه چشمتون رو بگیرید. 50 تا.
Every atom of John's rectum began to vibrate with the frequencies of pure pleasure. His orifice was a paradise. This vibrator would end all wars. It was good.
از این واسه مثلا 50 تا.
That one was good too.
واقعا تیکش رو ادیت کنم 50 تا رو کوتاه کنم.
The prostate pounder X900 series.
اوه.
The most advanced vibrator on the market.
کپسول خوردار.
Sweet mother of no, John, that's too much pleasure for one anus to handle.
گنده گو کشیدم. کار من نبود. اصلا فکر نکنید کار من بود. زلزله دارم. زلزله است. اوه نه. چون این کنترلی رو این که این داره اینجوری میشه نداره. منفجر شده.
John's butt hurt, but his heart was proud. If that vibe had gotten out into the world, it could have injured a customer as badly as it had ravaged his anus.
اونم سوخ. اطلاعی من بید. چیون بیارم؟
The boss arrived and congratulated John on taking one for the team and jumping on the hand grenade, or in this case, putting it up his butt. John was having trouble following the conversation because he was quite high on suppository painkillers. And then the boss said it. Promotion. Finally, the company was recognizing John's hard work and ignoring his minor faults like lack of talent, constant lateness, and flatulence. John's new office smelled like polished wood and success. John's success. Sam dropped by. He'd heard John had been hurt. John said he was fine. He wasn't a softie to complain about a mildly ruptured rectum. Besides, he had a promotion to celebrate. John had met Sam in college during a sports ball. He'd given him some stiff competition.
John, پرنده است؟ کاندوم؟ چیه؟ پرنده بود.
Not stiff enough.
گل به خودی زد.
They'd started at Flesh Corp product testing together.
واقعا این بازی رو فکر کنم واسه اونایی که می‌خواستن کارخونه دیلدو سازی بزنن ساخته شده. تبلیغی بازی هستن.
Yes. John had known Sam for a while. But John couldn't hang out with Sam. He had a reunion to prepare for. He was going out with Barbara tonight. He just had to ask her.
برو بابا فکر کن. اوه خون اومد. اوه چه باربارا چیه باربارا چیه این نیست که دوست داشته گم میزنم به همه چی
Barbara agreed. Well,
اینه باربارا
things were really going John's way.
خوشحالی شدیدی خب غذاهای رنگی از نوک خود پرتاب میکرد.
John tried to act as suave as possible and listen to Barbara talk business. He didn't want to blow his chances at long-term love and short-term sex.
چرا غذای منو پرت کرد؟
Barbara began to talk about monthly feedback figures and John started to zone out.
صداش خیلی
Imagining him and Barbara at the reunion, a power couple. She would make his classmates sick with envy. If he could get her to tone down the boring chatter. John's balls were gripped by certain.
من واقعا متوجه شدم که داشتم 16 سال اشتباه قضا همیشه مثلا مدل دیگه
قضا می‌کنم. Barbara by going behind the bar and showing the bartender a thing or two.
باش.
Despite Barbara's protests that it was unnecessary, John knew that a true gentleman should follow her home. He was excited. There was still 3 months until the reunion, and he'd already landed his perfect date. All he had to do was seal the deal.
چرا تو این بازی ان ها؟ چرا؟
Barbara thanked John for the evening and politely did not invite him inside for coffee or sex, even though John had dropped some pretty obvious hints he'd be into both, or just the sex. The door slammed on John's hopes. He didn't understand. He'd laughed at all Barbara's pie chart jokes. He'd listened to her boring stories. The blank eyes of the lawn flamingos were witnesses to John's shame.
چه این کرمه؟ چیه اینجا؟ اوه بچه زیر 18 واقعا نبینید اینو باید به بچه 5 سالی نشون بدی کنن ذهنیتش به زمین عوض
He had done everything wrong. Barbara had led him on just to humiliate him. John felt empty. How could he get love?
Feeling empty.
He felt like he was missing something, some key to attractive sex. But John was shooting blanks. What did Peas want?
شبیه سوسیس. از این پشت نمیتونم من اینا رو بخورم الان. نمیشه واقعا این گوله رو نمیشه بخورم. چه مسخره. بشه مثلا گولو خورد.
John out of nowhere. Stuff. He had the success. He just needed to show it off.
واقعا این پرنداش خیلی خوبه. طراحش کنم مثلا 3 سال داشته هر روز مثلا یه چیزی میکشیده کاری میکرده بگن این حجم از توی دنیای این شکلی بودن واسه مغز عادی نیست.
A new day, a new John. He waited outside his local buttload store for it to open, eager to spend his promotion bonus on stuff. The best way to impress women.
پول بگیرم ازت.
If it was buttloads of stuff John wanted, then he would need buttloads of cash.
واقعا بانک این شکلی میرفتی با من میکشیدی پایین. نمیتونم مثلا به این پول اوه میشه بس داره اصلا
Suddenly it occurred to John that he was going to make a lot of choices. And every one of those choices would tell the world who he was. Did he want cheese or sausage?
Cheese or sausage. قاعدتا من ساسیج رو انتخاب نمی کنم.
Delicious.
اوه
Mmm.
چو باشم
Just so
پف
moreish.
میکنه.
Maybe one more.
نمیتونم این یه دونه رو بخورم. خب یه دونه اینا بخورم.
Also delicious. How could John decide?
چون خیلی زایی.
That's enough, John thought.
موقع کرم داره میره تو لولش البته. این کرم داره میره توی کرم. بس برم.
What would a date
بریم
be
خرید.
when they sat in John's home?
چه مسخره یه
or
دونه
style?
صندلی $2500 چیکار این مبل این شکلی $500 خب اینو میخرم.
John went with comfort. Plus, it matched the couch he already had. John weighed up all the differences, but this was a tough choice.
روشن کنیم این کیفیت
Something
کدوم
told
بهتر.
John this was the TV for him.
همش یه چیزی داره میره تو یه چیز دیگه. خاموش نمیشه. فرق دارن کانالاشون ما فرق دارن نیستن چون اخبار نداشت. من اینو میبرم.
John chose the extremely, obviously bad TV.
اخبار کرم ها کدومش کمتر صدا میده؟ صدا اتوبوس میده. اینو میخوام.
John realized that it was
خیلی
only
شکل
2
قشنگی
months
بود
and
میده واقعا.
29 days until the reunion.
2 ماه و
Time
29 روز.
Cactus or rose? Was John a rugged hero?
نیدم چی بود اصلا. کاکتوس رو خب کاکتوس قاعدتا یه جا سوسیس میگرفت خواست بخورتش.
Then he'd save on romantic gestures.
میمردیم بازی تموم میشد دیگه. چی شد؟ مردی؟
There was nothing John could take with him to the grave. Except his coffin. John liked to get his pizza delivered. That way he could see Delilah, the delivery peen. She always made him smile. John knew that Delilah thought pineapple on pizza was an abomination.
Yeah.
What bedding would Delilah prefer? John couldn't help wondering. Pizza sheets would show her that John could also deliver in bed. Devoid of any sense of style, buying new clothes would be John's toughest challenge. The silky fabric made John feel like a celebrity. John decided to go with the outfit. Music, the food of love. Should John go retro sophisticated or just retro? John was sure he could just pirate extra records. Every can was made of metal, pulled from the bones of the earth, wrestled to the surface and smelted in roaring furnaces. Also John could buy peas, preserved in salty water, and stick them up his butt. John's new purchases were on the way to his apartment. All he had to do was invite a date over.
باور کنید من با شناختی که الان پیدا کردم میگه همشو بکن مثلا پشت توت ببرش رو خونه مثلا دونه دیگه
also hungry. It gave him an idea. He should invite Delilah over for dinner.
خدا رو شکر این کار نکن.
John was excited. Delilah was on her way. He just needed to set the mood to romance.
یه چیزی شکست. تلویزیون روشن کنم. چی روشن میشه؟ چقدر کیفی. بابا مطمئنم اینجوریه. عشق کردید اصلا. سخت. خیلی کنترلای بازی سخته. اصلا چیزی در میان میشه در دیار. خاموش. از این بازی متنفرم. اینم از موزیک. ولی واقعا من فقط دنبال اینم که چیز کنم ببینم تهش چی میشه. نسل مثلا اینا منقرض میشه. نمیشه که آخه.
That must be Delilah at the door.
اوه. کنم زنگه. بساتم.
The door opened and there was Delilah. John got on his nerves and invited her in. John could tell that Delilah was impressed by his stuff. It was time to crank up the mood to seduction. John wanted to offer Delilah wine, but he'd already
خورد سرش.
Delilah started looking as nervous as John felt. He assumed it was because she was shy too. They really were compatible. Of course, at the reunion, he couldn't mention Delilah was a delivery peen. That would be embarrassing. Delilah suddenly headed for the door. And just like that, John was alone again. Delilah hadn't even looked at his stuff. Not even the pizza bedspread. The rejection burned. John felt insignificant. He had everything he wanted. The job, the money, the stuff. So
چرا نمیخوام؟
he wanted to destroy all of it. Shove it into the abyss. His stuff.
چرا با همه چی خراب کنم؟
A lonely piston pumping away like all the others in his rigid place. Nothing special about him. Why should Delilah or Barbara or any other peen be interested in dating him? He was just everyone else and they could tell. John wanted to be special. Die, couch. But he had to face the numb truth. He wasn't. And all the money and stuff he'd ever accumulate wouldn't change that. Take that, TV. He thought it would make him unique, but it just made him more like He should leave it all. Fuck off, inanimate objects. Get out of this little town and go on an adventure. See the world. He was a boring corporate drone, but he didn't have to be. He could be a traveler, exploring jungles and climbing mountains. He could visit the wonders of the world and get his picture taken. Like Peony Island. The unspoiled paradise he'd seen on TV. That was it. John had to travel. Bags packed, John was ready to put 5,000 miles between him and his problems. He was leaving it all behind.
مطمئنم ولی ارزش اینه مال بیشتر. چرا؟ پول رفت.
Including his luggage. John was so close, he could almost smell the freedom of the skies. Security sent John back through the detector. John had forgotten he had his nail clippers with him. He'd have to buy another soon, or he'd look ridiculous. When the acceleration of takeoff had started, John felt a sweet relief. He had left his worries on the way. He was up in the clouds on his way to adventure. John's adventure had begun at last, and clearly it was a small world after all, and also a flat one. That was going to piss off the globeheads.
این هم چیزه از اینا سوالات تناسلی هست. نمورد کم 13 تا رو اینجوری بکنیم توی کرممون. اوه ایول امپایر استیت آپولو هم فضاپیمی. این هم برج آسایشی امریکا. قطره نمیرون؟ قطره من میخوام این قطره رو چیز کنم. این امپایر استیت باید بشه دیگه. ولم کن. ایول بیتنم داره. گیر کردم. یا چرا وقتی میرن تو دیگه در نمیام. پیزام چیز کنیم بعدش بریم ایفل. مثلا بازی کنم 25 سال به بالا پولم که تموم شد. 5 چرا؟ چرا؟ برگشت نمی‌کنه. پاپیون داره اون. پاپیون داره. بالا آوردنشون خیلی
Finally, everything was going smoothly.
لباس خودمون ولی فقط.
John felt good to be back on the familiar ground of home, but he would feel better to be on the familiar mattress of home.
این بود دیگه.
That's not John's bag.
نینه. نرو. چی شد؟ این هم نیست اون یکی فکر کنم. من اینا رو بندازم اینجا که بتونم من خودم بردارم. نوپ همونی که اول برداشتم اینه. چمدون اینجا. اینه که هیچ کدوم من نی. اینجا.
Ah yes, John's bag was right where he had left it.
آها رفتنی نبردیمش. همیشه دقیقه پیاده‌روش همین شکلیه.
Traveling was exhausting and he just really wanted to get home and get some sleep.
بریم خونه بخواب. چون بود چرا نمیم؟ این شهر مثلا شهردارش خوب نیست. دوباره رفت از اول؟ رفت از اول؟ سخونشو پرد بدیم. کجا خوب بفهم؟ بیگ فیس. بیگ فیس نامه توشه. لاکر اون کدومه؟ اوه چه رومانتیک. واو اینه؟ بیا قشنگی انداختم ببرش. نه 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 نه.
Another nightmare. John's stress about getting a date for the reunion was making him think of her. Harmony. He hadn't seen her in years. Would she be at the reunion? John shook off the thought. He wasn't a child. He was a fully grown penis.
خب مرسی از اینکه ویدیوی منو تماشا کردید. امیدوارم خوشتون اومده باشه. لایک و سابسکرایب یادتون نره. تا ویدیوی بعدی فعلا.